Hello and welcome back to another video. We'd like to be joined by David Gregory, former Bromley goalkeeper, got to the FA Trophy final, saving a penalty at Wembley. Also played for Ebbsfleet this season, where he's played for Boreham and started his career at Crystal Palace. So, David, how you doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're not too bad. We've been making these sort of videos. So, how have you been coping with the boredom in lockdown?
Not been too bad, to be honest. I think the main thing is just waiting for a vaccine and making sure everyone's safe. Unfortunately, in my family circumstance, we had a tragic loss due to the virus. So I'm quite passionate about people remaining safe and inside. And yeah, and the boredom hasn't really been too much of an issue, to be honest. You just got to keep your mind occupied and find ways to do it.
And in terms of your football career, you started at Crystal Palace. How did it come around to playing football?
Just the passion for it as a kid. Everyone wants to be a footballer when they're a youngster, and whenever you ask anyone, well, any lad below the age of 10, 90% of the answers tend to be a footballer. So yeah, that's the main reason how I got into it. And then the old spiel, you get picked up, you get scouted by a random guy watching your Sunday league in a field, and it just goes from there. You do your trial, and thankfully I got signed up when I was a youngster.
We've had a few goalkeepers on where they've had sort of good stories of how they actually ended up playing in goal. Did you did someone give up in goal? Have you always wanted to play in goal?
Yeah, someone in my Sunday league team. I was the centre midfielder myself, so someone in my Sunday league team gave it up, and I was already a wicket keeper at my cricket team. I thought
Okay.
I'll just chuck the gloves on, and much to my dad's disappointment, I was allowed to go in goal by my Sunday league manager, and then literally 6 weeks later, the scout came, and that was that, I suppose.
And then when you was at Palace, you went out on quite a lot of loans. Was that difficult?
No, I think that's part and parcel of being a young goalkeeper nowadays. If you look at the likes of Pickford and Dean Henderson in particular, they've honed their tools at various non-league clubs. I think Pickford was at Nuneaton for a while, or very, very low down in the footballing pyramids. And yeah, it does give, especially the position of a goalkeeper, the basic foundations that you need to succeed at higher levels in particular. And yeah, like I just tried to follow those footsteps of those guys, really, and yeah, get the gains in.
Which one of those loans did you enjoy the most, and which one did you learn from the most? Because you went on quite a few.
The one I enjoyed the most was probably the one at the end of my time at Palace. That was at Leyton Orient, and although it isn't lower down in the footballing pyramid, it was League Two at the time. It was at the time where the club was in a bit of turmoil in regards to the owner there at the time, and I think his name was Chetty. He was definitely an interesting character, and definitely brought some entertainment day to day. And I just thoroughly enjoyed what was going on there. I just took a bit of a back seat and just was enjoying what was going on, and then it just all went down in flames, and I was like removed from the whole setup, and it was quite a comical day to day. I thoroughly enjoyed the lads there as well, which did add to it, and I still keep in contact with the goalkeeper group that was there, which is good. And yeah, that was probably my most enjoyable one, and the one I learned from the most was probably the one I had at Bishop Stortford. Yeah, managed to play 30 odd games on a pitch that wasn't great. Clearly, I think horse manure in one of the goal frames to try and fertilise, and just stinking of horse doo-doo every week, and getting beaten up by some 30-year-old bloke who sells insurance during the week or something. And just really like it puts a perspective back into a young me. Like this is what it's going to take if you're gonna have to play at a level.
And if, like, looking back on it now, would you have done anything differently at Palace?
No, I think at the end of the day, I don't think I would have been good enough to play in the Premier League anyway, and I'm okay with that. Only the elite percentage of footballers and goalkeepers are going to play there, and 19-year-old me would probably not fit the bill anyway, and I'm okay with that. I just wanted to play football for a career, and whatever level that would have been. If it had been at Palace, that'd have been an unbelievable feat for me and my family. But I think as well, not only does ability come into account, you have to have a certain amount of luck, I feel, in breaking through in a Premier League team at the moment as a sub 20-year-old player, let alone goalkeeper. So I think perspective wise, I didn't really see myself playing in the Premier League right off the bat, I wouldn't have changed much. I did the right things. I went out on loan, tried to play as many games as I could before I was considered at a league level after my release. So yeah, I wouldn't have changed too much, I don't think, while I was there. I learned a lot, and I made some friends for life as well, which was fantastic.
As you mentioned, you left Palace. Was it difficult leaving Palace, and then you signed for Cambridge at the time, where a league club? Was that good?
I think it was about the right time to go, to be fair. Having spoken with a couple of coaches there, and inevitably I was getting released anyway, but I felt that it was my calling to go anyway, because I wasn't really advancing much in terms of my career. I ended up getting released anyway, but like I wasn't going anywhere there. So I thought, okay, well, if I am going to play football, I need to start playing football, and it so happened to be that Cambridge United was the next step for me. And although I didn't play as much again as I would have liked that season, unfortunately for me, but fortunately for him, Will Norris played a full season and played fantastically well. And I felt like I was pushing him along the way, and he succeeded brilliantly that season. He saved an unbelievable amount of penalties. He was performing week in, week out, and got his just rewards in his move to Wolves.
And then after that, when you left Cambridge, you signed for your local club, Bromley. Was that exciting?
It was exciting for me. I mean, I live in Bromley myself, so it's 10 minutes down the road from me. I had been to a couple of Bromley games beforehand, although it was difficult to get to a Saturday game being a footballer.
Yeah.
I had already been to Bromley. I already knew players that were there or had been there. So yeah, it was exciting time for me, because it was like games to be had and so conveniently close.
Obviously, you didn't get. It's a lot of times on loan. You didn't get. In Cambridge, you mentioned you didn't get a lot of consistent football. What was it like? Obviously, playing week in and week out at Bromley. So when you first came,
I went to Bromley quite driven as a someone trying to prove a point to people and prove that like I deserve to be here, and I want to try and play as high as I can. So having gone there, it was brilliant for me, because I just wanted to prove to people that I was worthy of playing football full time, and I am here. I'm here, and I'm going to do it.
And then obviously that season, I think you just missed out on the playoffs. Was that disappointing?
It was, after such a successful campaign that year. Like we were, I felt that we were very consistent that year in terms of grinding out results in either terrible conditions or just if we weren't playing great as a unit. Like we were getting a draw, nicking wins. Louis Dennis was fantastic for Bromley that season, and to miss out on the last day in such a disappointing way, and such a disappointing result, I think it, for me anyway, it was gutting that the season had to end that way, because I think I would have liked our chances in the playoffs against Ebbsfleet, against Tranmere, against anyone really. Like I did feel that season in particular we were strong. We were very strong.
Obviously that season you got to the FA Trophy final. What was that like as you playing at Wembley?
It was the best worst day of my life, that one. To play in front of 36,000 people on such a stage, and to lose it in the manner that we did, again, it's an experience I will carry with me for life. But to lose it in the manner that we did, after having what I felt such control of the game, and to concede the equaliser with 20 seconds of stoppage time remaining, and then to lose it on penalties was just, it still makes me sick. I'm still not over it, to be honest. I'm not.
And you obviously spoke about the penalties. Did you have a plan for the penalties, or?
Normally, the goalkeeper coach and I, Glyn Schimmel, I'm sure he'll watch this. Hello, Glyn. Normally, we would go through, like on a weekly basis, every team's penalty takers, who takes them, what way do they go, what kind of technique do they have on their run up, and unfortunately for Brackley, we had no data, so they didn't have any penalties videoed, and it was more like, go off the cuff, son. This is your time. And I managed to save one, but couldn't quite get the win for the team, which still bothers me. But I suppose I have to take that one to the grave.
Obviously, as you've mentioned, obviously playing in front of 36,000 people, when everyone's staring at you in the penalty shootout, what are you thinking? Are you just trying to keep your head, or?
It's just another game, to be honest. Like, at the end of the day, football's football. Nothing really changes. The same pressure of any other game is going to be there, you know. And I think that's what I tried to tell myself anyway. Like, it's just another game in a different place with more people. It's still a game of football, you know, and it's still a winnable game of football, but wasn't to be, unfortunately.
And then obviously the season after. What did you think of the season after?
I think we started poorly as a squad. I think we underachieved at the start, and come Christmas, I think we needed a bit of a shake up that did inevitably come from the management. They wanted to get XYZ in to strengthen the team. We were struggling at the time. I think relegation was like, we weren't quite struggling as such, but it was definitely something over our shoulder that we were quite aware of. So yeah, after that happened, I think Luke Coulson came in from Ebbsfleet, and Richard Brindley was already in there, but he came after the start of the season. I think he was the start of the improvement. So yeah, a couple of reinforcements came in that really steadied the ship and almost made a late push for the playoffs, but wasn't quite to be. I think we went on a 12-game unbeaten run between December and February, maybe. I think something like that. And I think playoffs were then an achievable target, but sort of fizzled out towards the end. But yeah, I think the poor start really killed that season.
Was it difficult? Obviously, leaving Bromley after 2 good years, obviously getting to Wembley and having a great time there, really.
Yeah, it was a fantastic time for me and my family. Loads of my family live around Bromley as well, so them coming to as many games, and a couple of them being season ticket holders anyway, there was brilliant, because I'd look over in the crowd and I'd see my cousin's uncle. You know what I mean? But I still consider him my uncle. But it's my cousin's uncle. My other uncles are in the stand. My dad's there. My mum's there. My sister's there. Her boyfriend's there. You know, everyone, like, even a couple of my mates who literally live down the road, like, they were able to come. And it's just brilliant, really. Like, you can just look in the crowd and you see, oh, yeah, there's Johnny, you know? Right, mate. But yeah, that was good. It was good to be there for so long and be moderately successful there, I think. I still would have liked to achieve more there, but unfortunately we didn't. But I felt good there. I felt good there.
And I've asked this question to the other goalkeepers we've had on here. Obviously, as a goalkeeper, you receive a lot of stick. I can actually remember one game when Ebbsfleet played Boreham Wood. I remember you turned around to us and said, "Why do you hate me so much?" How do you deal with that sort of stick?
Just give a bit back and forth. I imagine that one got a couple of laughs in the crowd there. Like, it's literally just take it with a pinch of salt and give it back where you can without being too malicious. I mean, I have received malicious abuse. I think a couple of times down at Dover, I think it is. Don't hold me on it, but I think Dover and Guiseley were particularly difficult. shall we call it hoaxing? I don't really know what to call it. It's what is it when comedians get bothered? What's it called?
Heckling.
Heckling. There we go. Guys named over from memory, the particularly bad heckling. But yeah, like as long as you can take it with a pinch of salt and give it back here and there. I mean, you usually quite well received that way.
Obviously, you signed for Boreham Wood, where you made a good start. Unfortunately, Boreham Wood weren't when that for like first 2 months. They didn't work. They're doing okay. What was it like? Obviously, moving on from Bromley and signing for Boreham Wood in their first couple of months.
I felt like we were playing well, Boreham Wood at the start of the season. It just nothing really clicked at the start of the season. Which is unfortunate for me because Ash came in and I was very much locked away, and I thought I didn't really do too much wrong, to be fair. But Ash came in, played well, and kept the spot. And as a goalkeeper, you have to deal with that and just accept it. And yeah, fair play to Ash. He kept his spot, and yeah, I moved on to Ebbsfleet.
Obviously, like you've been a sort of a number 2 and sometimes number 3 in your career. How do you, as a number 2 and number 3, obviously you're not involved in the first team. Are you just fighting in training to get noticed and try and get involved, or?
Yeah, I think it's different as a number 3 because I feel as a number 3 you've signed to be there as a number 3. I think as a number 2 or competing number 1, you know, that kind of structure. It's always difficult because you're trying to jostle for your position every week, and most of the time the guy that you're competing up against is someone that you consider a pal. You know, goalkeepers tend to be very, and the goalkeeper coach, they tend to be quite tight-knit unit within a club structure. It's rare to see a goalkeeping unit that doesn't get on at all. I don't think I've experienced it personally. But yeah, it's a tough one because if you're a number 2, you're trying to push the number 1 as far as you can, and that can either do great for that number 1 because he'll just keep bettering himself every week, which is great for the team, but it's bad for you. And if it is a detriment to that number 1, then all of a sudden you're in that position as a number 1 because you'll outshine in training and just keep performing, say in resi games or something. You'll earn your spot, and hopefully that was number 1 does the same thing and pushes you, and it's like a continuous cycle, really. I think as a goalkeeper as well, you got to remain so patient at certain times in your career. You have to really not as much bite your tongue, but just sort of take a back seat in terms of perspective and sort of bide your time and just keep working hard.
And then obviously you spoke about number 1s and number 2s. So when you joined Ebbsfleet, was you promised the number 1 or was you sort of number 2? What sort of, because obviously you've played quite a lot for us. Obviously Jordan was on international duty when you came in. You stayed in the team after that for a while. Was you the number 1 or?
Initially, when having a meeting with Steve Lovell, he said, "Look, Jordan's away for I think it was a month and a half or something with Australia," and he said, "Look, you're coming here to play for that time being, and then after that, the same old thing. You're fighting for your spot." And unfortunately for myself, I picked up a quite nasty back injury against Maidenhead, which then caused Jordan to have his spot back, and Jordan did fantastically well. And as he did, he supported me when he came back for the couple of weeks that I was still fit, and I did the same. I replicated, and try and keep pushing each other in training, and he was doing fantastically well, And again, that's part of being a goalkeeper. You gotta get on with it,
What did sort of Kevin? What was the sort of change room like? Because he came in, I think, was it after Ebbsfleet lost 7-0 to Barrow? What was sort of the change room like around there?
From memory, the mood was pretty low at that stage. I don't think there was a lot of confidence within the group that safety could be achieved. I think, just within the group, it's a fantastic group of lads there that, despite what was going on at the club, that at my time there, those lads really did pull together as a group, and the management team as well, because they're all in the same situation, and facing the same difficulties, the same challenges day by day. So yeah, I think that group there in particular is certainly one to admire and be thankful to be a part of. In spite of that big defeat at Barrow, people pulled together. I think there was a lot of confidence gained in that Kings Lynn FA Trophy result. A team that were flying so high in the Conference North to beat them, but I felt even with 10 men, and doing so well and being so comfortable at stages of the game, I think the group and myself really gained a lot of confidence from that result and go, okay, we can do this. There's no reason why we can't go up against Chorley or Chesterfield and get a result, and come out of this on top.
As you mentioned, obviously the mood wasn't great at Barrow. What was it like? Obviously, we struggled for wins. Obviously, we got a massive result against Woking, and then we started to pick up some results. What was it like? Obviously, starting to get that bit of belief that maybe we can do this.
I genuinely thought the Kings Lynn was a big turn in terms of the confidence within the group. I started seeing day by day the seeds of confidence being planted. So, okay, well, we can do this, And I think again Torquay was a big result. I think it was a 0-0 away at Torquay, where we put in such a defensive, resolute performance. Everyone was solid. Could have won it, and I think little things like that, little results, little moments in games as well, where someone puts in a shift for someone and everyone sort of pulls together even more, and you're sort of looking at each other during the week and going, okay, this is still doable, We're looking at the table, we go, we're only 3 points off it now, we're only 4 points up, we've got 2 games in hand. And we got Woking at the weekend. They've been struggling a bit. We could get a result there. Why not? Why can't we? And we did. And then you're sort of looking at the table again. You're going, hang on a minute, we're a point off it, 2 points off it, wherever it was. And all of a sudden, it's achievable, and it's in your hands as such.
And I felt a couple of times when we'd win that game. So when we won the game against Woking, then we go into the Chesterfield game. And there'd been a couple of times before that, where we're like, oh, if we win this game, we could get out of it. But we never seemed to win them games. We were sort of 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Did you feel like that was sort of the case as well?
I hadn't experienced it yet within being a part of Ebbsfleet. But yeah, I could definitely sense it within, especially after the Chesterfield game. I think being in the change room afterwards, it was like, okay, this may have been something that's happened during the season, you feel like you're building on something, all of a sudden, bang, a poor performance or a poor 20 minutes. I think it was only a 20-minute period in the game where we just sort of just capitulated as such. And yeah, I think after that game, I think, okay, this has been something that's happened during the season once or twice. And again, you got sort of go back to the drawing board again. Well, how do we get out of this again? It's a poor result, and I think we followed it up with a brilliant win against Chorley. And again, you find yourself in the same situation. Can we get out of it? And
yeah,
and then that unfortunately was taken away from us by COVID-19, because we got another great result at Halifax, and we almost did so well against a great performing Stockport side who were flying high at the top of the table. Almost pulled out a 90th minute header. Almost pulled out a great result at home against those guys in unbelievably poor conditions. But I do feel that if the season had continued, that we would have done it. I don't think there was any reason to believe that we wouldn't. We were in great form, performing well. The confidence was high within the group, and there was no reason to believe that it wasn't possible. I firmly believe that the group would have done it. So yeah, it's just unfortunate that the season did have to end in the way that it did.
Obviously, you've mentioned that the 1 step forward, 2 steps back. You put in an absolute shift against Chorley, which I think if we lost that game, we would have been relegated. I don't think we played that well that day. To be fair to Chorley, they played quite well. You had to save quite a lot of shots. You had to save that penalty. What was that? Obviously a nervous game. Obviously you made some massive saves, got a clean sheet, and 6 pointers is an understatement for that game.
Yeah. That again, it's a game that I imagine has been witnessed multiple times during that season, and a game that I've been a part of loads in the conference. Within the conference, there's not a lot going on really. There's the odd chance here or there. The conditions are terrible. The pitch is struggling. Like it's the same old, same old. It's going to be about who takes that moment, you know, and it's going to be about what team takes that moment, and who holds out, who performs better in terms of defensively. So yeah, like it was one of them games, you know, nothing really happening. We managed to nick a goal from a set piece, typical conference style football, you know, and then just lock down, try and hold out for the result. And surely, for me, I don't think, despite them being rock bottom of the table, the times I played in the season, they seem to really move it about well. Had chances during the game each time I played them. You know, like they had chances throughout the 90 minutes each time that I played them, and for them to be so far adrift at the bottom confused me because they were such a nice on the eye. They played through a very well structured shape and seemed relatively successful in terms of creating chances in the game. But obviously throughout the season, that's been their problem. They haven't scored enough, and yeah, that game in particular, saving, conceding, which I've looked back at it loads of times. That was out of the box. I conceded the penalty. I conceded the penalty and managed to take the moment and save it, which again, it really gets your adrenaline going. And thankfully, we held out for the result as well.
And obviously, we stepped one step forward, 2 steps back. We had, what was it, obviously playing the Royston game, and obviously, you know, going all the way to Chesterfield. You know, we done well in that first half, and then obviously we played some sort of nice sort of passing stuff, but we just couldn't get anywhere near them really, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I'd had the, or they call it misfortune, would be a bit too strong, but I'd played Royston twice, been involved in 2 games against Royston that season already. One in the Hertford Senior Cup and one in the FA Trophy. I didn't play in the FA Trophy game, but they were strong in both occasions. So I fully anticipated a tough game against them. I don't think we took them lightly. They've been flying in their league as well. I think they've only lost 1 in 28 or something ridiculously good. So and having played against them twice already, or been involved and watched them once before, I was like, okay, these guys are going to come in with a bit between their teeth, and they're going to want to try and prove a point. And I again, during that game, I think we had plenty of chances to win it. We just didn't take them. We didn't take our chances. I think we had
enough,
we had so many good opportunities to take that we didn't. And if you give a team such as Royston, who are determined to prove a point, any kind of something to hold on to, that they're gonna, or grab, they're gonna take it with both hands. They're gonna make you suffer for it, and unfortunately they did.
What did Kev say after the Royston game and the Chesterfield game? Because honestly, I thought that we were down after those 2 games. But obviously, the run we went on was absolutely incredible after that. It shows the strength of character of that team, to be fair.
Yeah, I think not to put a downer on the FA Trophy. I do think that the main focus of the club and the group when I entered the building was to stay up, and the trophy was very much a luxury. So I think that the mood was more of a, hey, look, we're disappointed here, but we've got a bigger agenda to stay focused on, and that was to stay in the league. There was disappointments and were frustrations from the management in Kev, and rightfully so. I felt that we probably shouldn't be allowing Royston to beat us, but we did, and that those frustrations were were expressed in the change room after the game. But I think the main focus was quickly turned to, okay, next week, lads, we got a big cup final against I believe it was Maidenhead. I think it was the following Tuesday, actually.
Yeah, the Tuesday night. Yeah.
And again, the focus was quickly turned to trying to achieve a result and achieve safety against them, because they were within reach, you know, and they were so close, and getting a result against those guys was like main priority.
And then obviously you spoke about you got a bad injury at Maidenhead. Have you recovered from this now?
Yeah, I'm fully fit. That's, well, I don't know about fully fit. With COVID-19, we'll see. But yeah, I'm fully recovered from the injury.
That's good.
So yeah, all good.
What are your sort of your plans for the future? Obviously, we don't know what's going on with COVID-19 and all that stuff. But have your aspirations to get back into the football league? Is that one of your goals?
Yeah, it's always been my goal to play in the football league regularly. What's going to happen after COVID-19? It's gonna be difficult to predict, really, for me personally. I don't know what's going to happen. To be brutally honest, the clubs themselves, rightfully so, they've got no idea what's going to happen. Whether, yeah, for me, I can't see football returning at National League level and below for a long time, you know, for a while.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the clubs have got the structure for it to return this quickly. Like, I think we're going to see a couple of teams going into administration and liquidating, which is so sad, because it's brutal, you know. And like, I just can't see a fair way of determining who goes up, who comes down. It's just such a difficult situation, something that's totally unprecedented. We may never ever see again. But for football, I don't know myself as well. I don't know where it goes from here. You know, I don't know what to do with it. It's the main important thing is to keep everyone safe and try and wait it out. Kind of, it's going to be very difficult, no matter what. The startup, the ending of last season, the startup of it again, it's just going to be difficult. Full stop. There's not a lot that can be done.
As you said, you've probably got one of the best setups we have. You make sort of Twitch videos. When did you start doing that kind of stuff?
I've always been an avid gamer from a young age, as is most teenagers. So yeah, I stream on Twitch every now and then. So thankfully, I've got a half decent setup to do Zoom calls and just be in my bedroom and be able to broadcast anything really. I broadcast poker. I broadcast literally FIFA. I broadcast anything. There's some people come by and say hello, and it's good. It's good to occupy the mind for now. Only really started streaming about 4 months ago, I'd say. Just give it a go, and it's been quite well received, to be fair. Not really done any promoting as such on my social media, so like it's all been growing through
Twitch
for itself, yeah, which has been quite good. Only recently I've tweeted out there, come say hi if you want to, because it's built up a bit of a community. I wouldn't want anyone to come in from my Twitter or Instagram or something and it just be dead, you know. So
yeah,
yeah, it's done all right, you know. And if it keeps growing, it keeps growing. If it doesn't, I'll just be doing it for fun anyway, you know.
Do you want to go for your best 11?
Oh, best 11. Okay, let's do it. I've got it on my phone. 1 second. Right, in goal, we have Julian Speroni, someone who is a fantastic mentor and goalkeeper for me at my time at Palace. He was a great help in my development as a goalkeeper and as a man, really, to be honest. Just the way he handled certain situations was fantastic to watch and to learn from. Did I go with the back four? I did go with the back four. I went with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, a lad who was in my youth team structure, a very quiet lad, one who was always a winger up until the moment he broke through. And again, I talk about luck being a massive thing in breaking through any Premier League side, and he was just a diamond in the rough at right back that hadn't been discovered yet. And I don't know. For me, I think he was a 1 in a million in terms of his position as a right back to perform so brilliantly as a right back, having been a winger and been taught as a winger for his whole academy life, to then be thrown in at Premier League level on a world stage at right back and perform so well was just, it blew my mind, to be honest, to watch. I then have gone with Josh Coulson and Scott Dan as centre halves. Josh Coulson, for me, when I was coming through at Cambridge United, I played 1 or 2 games and he was in front of me, I believe, in one of them. Just such a good lad and a brilliant defender. He's doing really well at Leyton Orient, and I hope he continues that whenever the football does continue. And Scott Dan, I played 1 reserve game with him at Palace. Just oozes class, really, as a centre half, and probably the most complete centre half I played with, I think. And then at left back, again, I've gone with someone I played a resi game at Palace, and that was Pape Souare. Before his quite devastating injury in a car crash, he was, and probably still is, yet to see him perform since his accident in the car. Was probably by far the best left back I think I played with. Right winger in midfield, I've gone with Wilf Zaha. I don't think there would be any shocks there. I played with him a couple of times at youth team level, under 16 level, I think it was, before he really started getting the notice. Probably the best footballer I'll ever see live. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. He is a phenomenon, I think, and will hopefully, I hope for his sake, when he does leave Palace, that he does end up going to a big side in the European structure and succeeds ever more. I don't think he was given a fair chance at United at his time there, for whatever reason. I don't know, but I think he'll excel in the world stage, and I hope he does. One centre midfielder I've gone with is Johnny Williams. Brilliant lad. Lived with him for a couple of years at my time at Palace and played with him. I pretty much grew up with him, really, in the academy structure at Palace. And not only is he an unbelievable footballer, in my eyes, he's a fantastic lad. And I've also gone with Lee Chung Young, centre midfielder at Palace. Again, don't think he got the time he deserved at Palace. But a phenomenal footballer in training, and one that I thought deserved to play more in the Premier League, but it didn't work out for him at Palace. But phenomenal footballer, phenomenal. I just really enjoyed watching him train and play in resi games in particular, and he had a couple of moments at Palace, I think, as well, where he really shined through, but it just didn't work out in the long run. And the left winger, I've gone with Louis Dennis, a player that I watched at Bromley who just was able to pull something out of nothing so consistently, and someone I hope that achieves everything that he can in the game. A fantastic footballer, and someone I hope excels. 2 strikers, I've gone with Dwight Gale and Glenn Murray. Dwight Gale is probably the best finisher I've seen in training and resi games that I played, along with Glenn Murray. They're just both tremendously clinical finishers, and they worked incredibly well together when I saw them play for Palace. And the manager, I've gone with Ben Garner, who is currently the Bristol Rovers manager. He was my youth team manager at Palace, and he really got the best out of the group that I was in. We managed to be in the Cat 1 academy category, and that's nothing to do with management, but what he got out of us up against the likes of Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, United, loads of massive clubs that had massive wage bills for youth team level. What he got out of our group, mostly South London lads, was truly brilliant, and again, a fantastic coach and fantastic man. So yeah, that's my 11 manager.
Obviously, big thanks for coming on, David. Good luck with the Twitch streaming, and wherever you go next season, maybe it'll be Fleet, wherever you go, whenever that may be. Obviously, we wish you all the best, and big thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very much, and keep this up, guys. I've thoroughly enjoyed what you're doing. It's very innovative, and yeah, keep it all up. I'm enjoying it.
All right, cheers, David. All the
Thank
best.
you very much. See you later.
Cheers.